Hey guys, Dantics here. So I recently had a full day to play Crimson Desert and was privileged enough to test out every skill the main character Kliff has in his arsenal. So in this video, I'll be going through his skill tree, diving into each node and their sub-skills, as well as letting you know how it felt to pilot, ultimately giving you my opinion on the skill tree and how good or bad it is. Let's get right into it. So this is Kliff's skill tree, which is significantly bigger than the other two characters, but that's for another video. So we have three paths, blue, red, and green. They seem to be converging into an ultimate skill in the middle, but as of this build, that's not the case. Skills have basic requirements of Abyss artifacts, and besides some exceptions, they can be picked up in any order. Also, by observing the skill performed in the world by enemies or allies, you can learn them without investments. You see the locations of which on your map. You can see them all here. If you already had a point in the skill you learned, the artifact cost will be refunded. It's an elegant little system once you get your head around it. So most importantly, at the start of each tree, you have your passive attributes that you can raise: health, stamina, and spirit. Your health bar starts off quite small, but I'd recommend investing a bit into stamina first. It governs your special attacks, your dodges, how long you can sprint, glide, control a horse as you tame it, and much more. It's important to reach a critical mass so exploration and combat feel good. Then spirit. If you like launching off lots of magical attacks, this is what you'd want to raise. You regenerate spirit by killing targets. Further along the trees are the actual skills, which give you some kind of new effect or ability. Note that none of us were able to record footage from the late game, though I can confirm you don't get any secret skills, not on the tree that you're seeing here. Unless of course they hid stuff from us, but they had no reason to do so. Let's start in the blue tree with unarmed combat. Now, I was given a PlayStation controller, but you can use an Xbox and that has equivalent mapping, or you can even use a mouse and keyboard. By pressing triangle, you switch to unarmed mode and can lay down the pain on your enemies. So in this node, there are 5 sub-skills. The first rank unlocks the skill. The second gives you a scissor takedown ability. While crouching, you press triangle to trip an enemy. While on the ground, you can finish them with your weapon easily with R1. The next gives you further skill combos to make it feel more like a fighting game, and the fourth gives you a lunge and barrage of punches by using your heavy attack or R2. This can propel light enemies off cliffs and into walls. The final stage gives you a powerful unarmed ultimate attack. Pressing R1 and R2 together like you do with your weapon out for its ultimate will unleash a barrage of strikes costing 10 spirit. From my testing, it seemed better to use a powerful weapon, but without all the factors in place, without playing it from the start of the game till the end, it's hard to be certain. Next to it is the pump kick. By holding triangle, you launch a powerful kick that sends light enemies flying. During my playtime, I learnt this from a boss and could use it against said boss to knock him into things for big damage. You can upgrade it with a giant swing, but that requires 3 in grappling, a skill coming up later. Why do you want to swing him? Well, because it looks cool. But keep in mind, you don't need to spend resources, just have the requirements for this to unlock. Next is drop kick. Holding triangle will have you drop kick an opponent, yet another skill I watched and learned from a boss. The considerable knockback is great against small opponents. Yes, it is the same button input as pump kick. Does it replace the skill? No, I think. Well, what's the difference? Well, it doesn't say, but the pump kick can be done standing still, and it seems like the drop kick needs you to be moving, but I'm not entirely sure, even looking back on my footage. Then we have vault. For 40 stamina, you can press R1 plus square to leap over an enemy. This is good because you'll have a significant advantage behind your enemy. Some you can instantly finish off. To the right, we have flying kick. This one requires you to be in the air from jumping or otherwise. Then pressing triangle will launch you towards the target to kick them twice. From high altitude though, pressing triangle will set off meteor kick, which uses 10 spirit, a more powerful strike from the sky. You'll notice with a lot of these attacks that use spirit, they have a nature-like particle effect. Depending on what your current element is, you can change the damage type. That isn't listed here, I know, but you'll see more on that soon. Moving down, we have Grappling, 3 of which automatically gives you the Pump Kick Swing upgrade. By pressing triangle and circle or X and square together, you'll grab your target. Pressing triangle and circle then will throw the target. Yes, you can throw them off cliffs or into their friends or into walls, whatever you want to do. Pressing triangle and circle though will take the enemy hostage for you to guard your body and follow up attack. Another point in grapple will unlock Lariat. For 60 stamina, by pressing X and square together, you slam the enemy hard into the ground and give them the Stone Cold Steve Austin stunner. With 4 points, you can channel your inner dragon's dogma and cling to bigger targets. Then we have a reminder that at this stage, you'll get Giant Swing for the pump kick. Finally, for 5 points in grappling, you can follow up your Lariat another time. For what I assume is big damage, it's hard to tell because they don't include tooltips. Further up though is Clothesline. 60 stamina, press X and square while running to clothesline a target, knocking them to the ground for a follow-up. Body Slam is next, and for 60 stamina, while you have either double jumped or used aerial force palm, you can slam into enemies from the air with your body. So you need to have unlocked either to be able to use this ability. I learned this skill by watching a boss use it. It hits in a decent area around you, and AoE attacks are invaluable since there can be a lot of enemies on screen at once and they don't seem to take turns in attacking you. Moving down, we have Archery. You get this automatically when you start the game, but you can improve it up to 5 times. Then we have Multi-Shot. It fires 10 arrows across a wide cone in front of you for a cost of 10 spirit. This example video really doesn't show what it does properly, but it is useful when there are a lot of enemies around, when you have your bow out, because it takes a fair amount of time to shift back to a shield and sword.
Gonna be good.
Then we have Evasive Shot. For 45 stamina, you can double tap your dodge button to slide and shoot at the same time. Useful as you'll be dodging a lot in combat. 2 ranks gets you an increased speed dodge when you evade. 3 points gives you 2 things. First, it now makes the Evasive Shot fire 2 arrows. Second, it gives you an explosive evasive shot. By pressing R1 and R2, while aiming, you fire a powerful arrow into the ground and leap back. You can equip different arrow types, so I don't think this means the arrow will explode. It will only explode when you have explosive arrows equipped, at least when I tested it. Now, Charge Shot consumes spirit to fire a magical shot, once again, based on your current element equipped. Moving down, we have Armed Combat. It's your basic attack. Press R1 to attack the enemy with your currently equipped weapon. You'll by far be using this the most, so I'd recommend upgrading it post haste. The first rank gives you Evasive Slash. 40 stamina to slash while jumping backwards. It's good while you're dodging attacks or getting out of trouble. The next rank unlocks Charge. You'll have your guard up most of the fight, so just press X and then X, you'll charge at your enemy and knock back small ones. 3 points gives you Rush. For 70 stamina, you can turn your forward evade into a powerful strike by pressing R2. This apparently counters enemies' attacks, but during testing this only seemed to work on smaller enemies or while you had your shield up as well, which makes that redundant. Now we come to the main reason why you want so many points in unarmed combat: quick swap. Swapping weapons normally is slow and tedious, but by pressing L1 and L2 together, you switch between your main and your sub weapon. In my case, it was a sword and shield and a soul spear. Switching to each does a little attack appropriate to the weapon you're switching to, like a pole vault kick when switching to the spear. Next, we have the forward slash. This is basically your heavy attack. You press R2 to execute it. You also start with this. 2 ranks gives you improved forward slash, which lets you follow up with more slashes, essentially comboing, and yes, it is very useful, and yes, you'll use it often in all forms of combat. 3 ranks gives you forward slash mastery, which claims it will never miss its mark, but I'm unsure what that exactly means. In my testing of the slash, it most definitely misses if you don't aim at a target and your targets can still block and dodge, so I don't know. Shield Bash with R1 and R2 lets you Shield Bash and feels like any other Shield Bash that you've ever used before. Shield Bash, knocking back targets rather than doing much damage. Turning Slash is next and consumes 10 spirit to launch off a kind of power attack or ultimate strike from other games. It blows 3 ranks into it, lets you press Turning Slash again for a follow-up for no additional spirit cost, which of course is quite good. 3 ranks also gives you Turning Slash Mastery, which ignores enemies' super armor and knocks them back. I didn't get to try this well on big bosses, but on regular enemies with a shield, it seems to ignore them and go right through, which is quite useful. To the right we have Stab, and it also goes through super armor, which you'll see. It kind of lunges you forward to stab and it only hits one target and makes them bleed apparently, but I didn't see how the effects of bleed works, so I can't be sure how effective it is. However, with 2 ranks, the Swift Stab gets a follow-up slash, and that seemed to do a lot of damage to the scrub enemies. Keep in mind this attack also costs stamina. 2 ranks also unlock Skewer, which lets you grab the target you just stabbed. Following up any way you see fit with unlocked grapple node skills. So you could stab into Lariat if you wish. 3 points into the skill unlocks 2 things. First is Aerial Stab, which lets you use the attack in the air. Finally, it unlocks Stab Mastery, letting you stab through super armor. Once again, unsure how it affects bosses, but it does get through scrubs from testing. Sword Flurry is next. 30 stamina to step a short way forward and slash around you in an AoE, which is exactly what I used it for. Some area damage since you're quick to be surrounded in this game. More accurately, I used Enhanced Spinning Slash, which you unlock at rank 2. It lets you hold R1 and X to continue launching off spinning slashes, consuming stamina each time, and when you unlock a skill that gives you echoes, it's even more effective. Next is Blinding Flash, another skill you get in the tutorial. Pressing L1 and R1 reflects light. You can use that to solve puzzles, light grass and stuff on fire, reveal secrets, and blind your enemies, though I never really got it to work mid-combat. Then we have another node for what probably should have just been within Blinding Light Finisher. If you blind a target, you follow up attack. It sure looks powerful, but I never tried it. Blinding targets wasn't something I thought about mid-combat since we have so many tools available. So that's the blue tree. There are a lot of stamina based nodes in this one, but there still are skills that consume spirit. So let's take a look at the green tree, starting with the passive spirit upgrade. You need spirit for your specials and some skills. It's basically like mana, except it regenerates when you kill targets, noted by the green glow when you kill something. The next skill is Nature's Echo, which I found may be quite powerful in the late game. It summons a phantom clone to mimic your attacks. You first need keen senses and / to rank 3, so it may be a while until you get this one. The first rank upgrades your / with an echo, the next upgrades your spinning slash. Remember how it clears enemies in an AoE? Well, this makes it the go-to option for scrubs. The next rank gives echoing stab, which does exactly what you'd expect. Overall, it seems to double your damage output, at least 50% more. It does a lot, so I definitely recommend picking it up. Nature's Snare is next, and something I never really used. Press R while in focus mode, and that makes a snare that blocks projectiles for a 2 spirit a second cost. 2 ranks lets you retaliate against your attackers by pressing R3 during the channel. For 3 ranks, you can press L3 during the channel and make the veil stay where you were channeling without you having to channel it. Keen Senses is up next, and 3 ranks of which is required for Nature's Echo. First rank gives you parry. Pressing L1 just before getting hit will parry the enemy, doing what you'd expect, giving you more frames to follow up with while staggering the enemy. Rank 2 gives you back, which is basically a perfect dodge. Dodge right before getting hit to execute it. This seems to be more reliable than parry against bosses. And finally, for 3 ranks, we have counter. If you attack right before getting hit, you strike first. I couldn't get this to work consistently, but there must be a trick or a very, very narrow window. Next is Evasive Roll. For 10 spirit, you can roll away from the action to get some breathing room. This isn't a normal roll though, which you will be using a lot. Specifically, this happens if you activate roll right before getting hit, which you'll be trying to do regardless, so a perfect roll. How is this different to dodge? Roll is a longer press on the circle, dodge is a double tap. Next is a fairly core skill, double jump. It consumes spirit to do so, but lets you jump a second time. You can follow up with many of the skills we've already gone through. Keep in mind, you can press R3 while you're in the air to force palm further into the air, which we'll go through soon. Focus is next, lets you slow down time by pressing in both triggers. It consumes 5 spirit a second. For 2 points, you get focused repulsion. Pressing R1 knocks back everything around you for 10 spirit. A good oh shit get off me set of buttons. For 3 points, you unlock Focused Insight, which lets you see enemy attacks and immediately counter with L1, making you feel a little bit like Batman in the games that were actually good. Here's Force Palm, something you learn fairly early on by observing it done as an echo. Rank 1 lets you use Force Palm as an attack or a way to push in objects while you're trying to solve puzzles. Like most spirit draining attacks, it takes into account your current element. The first rank also unlocks Aerial Force Palm, so if you're in the air and press it, you'll get another jump. You also unlock a way to heal. Pressing L1 while charging will heal what you hit, which is good because later on you unlock 2 other companions to play as, but you can also summon them to fight with you at the same time, so this is a way to keep them healthy. Rank 2 gives you up to 2 extra palm strikes. That means you can jump, double jump, then palm strike 3 times for a total of 5 jumps, getting some significant air. Rank 3 gets up to 3 extra palm strikes for 6 extra jumps or 4 palm strike attacks. During the story, you'll unlock Nature's Grasp, a way to pick up objects and move them. It can be used during boss fights to pick up pillars, then slam the pillar down onto them. We then have Focus Shot, letting you slow down time while aiming at the cost of spirit. Pressing R1 will launch a volley of arrows. Rank 2 lets you roll and shoot while aiming, and Rank 3 lets you paint targets and launch off a volley at all of them. Force Palm lets you follow up your Force Palm strike with a strike. It costs spirit, so yeah, it's another strike on top of the 4 you already have at this point. I don't know why this is a separate node, but it is, and it's actually a decent skill. Focus Palm uses spirit to enter a focus state while charging your Force Palm. It's used to target opponents in a core. It looks really cool, and it's used against some bosses. There's a skill that lets you swing, and Light Falling Palm is a follow-up to that. Pressing R3 while swinging will make you slam towards the ground. Damage is based on your current element, it seems. Force Current requires Axe and Force level 2 and Force Palm level 2, but it makes it so while you're holding a target with Axe and Force, you can send a pulse through it. I noticed it does high stagger to targets or builds up the boss stagger meter quite high. Yeah, bosses have stagger meters, and once it happens, they get stunned. So that is the green tree. Next is the red, which is the smallest tree by far, starting with the health passive upgrade. Like mentioned, your health starts very low, so upgrading this can be helpful. The first skill is Mystical Storage. Pressing triangle while holding an object with Axe and Force, which we'll get to soon, is just another way to hold things, will seal an object inside of an iron pot. I have no idea why. It wasn't brought up in our play session at all, so your guess is as good as mine. Next is Fist of Flame. Using 10 spirit, you imbue your fist with fire and charge forward. It says it can be cast while casting other skills, but it doesn't seem to work while charging Force Palm without cancelling it, so I don't know exactly what it means, but it is a powerful attack. Next is Veil of Fog. Consuming 10 spirit, you make a large area around you foggy, stopping enemies from seeing you and letting you stealth assassinate them. Obviously, it doesn't work against bosses, but I tried it and it's still a bit of fun. We finally get to Imbue Elements. You both need Fist of Flame and Mantle of Frost to get this, but it lets you switch your current element with the others. Ta-da! This is the one I've been talking about. The first rank also imbues your heavy with your current element by pressing L2 and R2 during it. Rank 2 imbues your charged shot with an element, this one actually costing spirit. Also, this is auto-applied to the charged shot, you don't need to press anything. The third rank is the force palm, imbuing it with the element, and finally, fourth rank imbues meteor kick with the power of an element. The tooltip says lightning, but it seems to be any element you have equipped. Mantle of Frost is next, which you need to unlock imbue elements. For 10 spirit, it freezes the surroundings to create a protective barrier on yourself. It does block a hit and stagger enemies, kind of like a delayed parry. Surge of Sparks is next. Consume 10 spirit to run electricity into the ground to create a shocking area for enemies. It's an AoE shock attack and it was quite useful, but it was dangerous against bosses, so use it at your discretion because it locks you in place, of course, and it doesn't just straight up stun bosses. It builds up their stagger meter. During the story, you'll unlock Axum Force. It sends out a magical hand to help you move and manipulate objects. At rank 2, you can use the skill like a grapple. You can lock onto an area, then leap up. Rank 3 turns it into a swing, which lets you then follow up with the ground slams we've seen previously over in another tree. For some reason, it really should have just been here. Flight is granted to you via the story, and it lets you glide, not fly, through the air. Your stamina will actually deplete if you move while gliding, though that isn't listed here. If you stay still though while in this mode, you'll slowly drop to the ground without consuming stamina. Upgrading to rank 2 gives swift flight, which makes you dive and travel faster, consuming stamina as well, which is weird because if you dive, you really should be recovering your stamina. Anyway, gliding is one of the reasons you want to improve your stamina because at lower mounts, you can't really glide for long, and gliding is pretty useful. Now, I'm not sure why this skill needed its own node, but getting aerial roll lets you roll slightly for a stamina amount. I honestly can't see the reason to ever use this, but maybe there is some bosses that require aerial dodging. Last on the red tree is Winch. It requires 3 grappling and 3 Axum Force. The requirement is why it's a different color, I think. Pressing L3 channels your inner scorpion and pulls it towards you for a slam. You can then proceed to finish them off with a basic attack. So finally, in the middle of all those trees is Falling Palm. You press R3 while falling at full speed to consume all your stamina and blow up anything you land on, so a higher stamina amount means apparently more damage. I've seen this used on enemies and bosses alike. It's not something you'll use very often, but it seems very powerful. So those are all the skills Kliff has access to in Crimson Desert. The skills are mostly fun themselves, and Kliff certainly has a lot of good tools at his disposal to make the combat and traversal quite interesting. I just hope by the time you get your hands on the game, the problems I've highlighted, sarcastically or otherwise, are all fixed. Anyway, I hope I gave you a good idea of what to expect. If you have any particular questions, ask below, I'll try to get to them. So, what do you think? Kliff seem like fun? Let me know below. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, ciao friends.